Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TripleJump Podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
And my name is Ashton.
Now, Ashton Matthews,
yes, Ben.
Peter Austin, I don't know if you heard this, but he was recalled to the North Pole because they needed help.
They needed more elves at the North Pole to help with Christmas, and he's still there now. You know, the clean down, the pack down takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So he's not back. From the North Pole. He got recalled last week and he's not back yet.
Yeah, he's on international duty at the moment.
Yeah.
No Peter Austin, but we hope you, if you indeed celebrate it, had a fantastic Christmas. Mm-hmm. And if you've got the next few days off, you're just sort of chilling at home, then we hope you're having a lovely time on the lead up to New Year's. This, of course, is our annual bonus podcast.
Yes.
This is being recorded in advance because we're off. So we're just going to do sort of a Q&A. That's normally how we approach this thing.
Hopefully nothing massive has happened this week. Like, I'm hoping that because it's Christmas, there won't be any like major news. Otherwise, we're going to look like right dinguses.
I know.
PlayStation shuts down on December 27th.
Classic. Of course they would. We're really the duality of Christmas right now. Do you want my hat? I feel like I've got everything. You've got nothing.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I basically
got festived up.
The plan for today was very different. So I came in with knowing I was going to have to put something on over the top, but it wasn't going to be a Christmas jumper. So I was like, it's fine that I'm wearing a black turtleneck right now. But yeah, the Christmas hat is, this is my...
There we are, that's helped.
This is my Christmas spirit. It's still here, lingering around for a few more days. If you've not been around before and you don't know what the bonus podcast is, then let me tell you. We have gone out to our patrons and asked for some quick-fire Q&A questions a la After Dark, our Patreon-exclusive podcast. And we put those questions in... a dis hat.
Oh, that's why the hat was on the table. Sorry, I kept putting it on the floor because I was like, we're not doing After Dark.
I kept putting it on the table and Ben kept putting it on the floor.
We don't need that now.
But we do need it
We even had a conversation where I was like,
I thought you were just
did you
being
put it
like,
back on the table?
You wanted to do a big reveal.
No, not at all. I just wanted to put it on the floor.
Cool, okay, that's fine. So we've got some quick fire questions in here, not any of those long, drawn-out, big discussions we always do, eh?
God.
But, so yeah, that's what we're doing today. There's no sponsor, because there's no games coming out this week.
No.
And there's no usual gaming forecast for January. Mm-hmm. I guess I could have done it, but I forgot.
And also, we're a little way off when we're recording this thing, so it's fine.
So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Mm-hmm. There's a few things that are out this week on the channel. If we want to do that first, I guess, before we dive in.
Just because we're not in the office doesn't mean there's not amazing stuff going out on our channel over the festive break, including the untold story of PlayStation's 2008 metaverse. That's all about PlayStation Home. I've long been an advocate for PlayStation Home, despite being part of the reason why it didn't succeed in that I never played it. But I like the idea of it, and I thought it's really, really interesting, especially a lot of the stuff that they did in there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Resi 5's coming out. Here's some skins and some outfits that you can run around in with your avatar. Is precisely the kind of model that's been adopted by the likes of Fortnite to massive success in the past few years. So it was sort of a precursor to all of that stuff, and it's really interesting about how it evolved and where it came from, and that's a video all about that. So go and check it out. That'll be on the channel now. I think so. I can't remember which day it's on.
Tomorrow or yesterday.
Right.
So this weekend at some point.
Go check it out. That's not all though, Ashton.
No, if you are a patron, or if you fancy becoming a patron to do this, you can vote on our Game of the Year polls. Earlier on in the month, I put a post out asking for your top 5 games of the year. They then get fed into the machine. The machine is me. And I make the poll, and we put the top 10, and then those are voted on by you. And then at the Game of the Year podcast, which will be next week, we'll go through our top 5 games of the year and your top 5 games of the year. So if you fancy being a part of the conversation, then head on over to Patreon and vote on the poll.
Yes, that of course is patreon.com/Team TripleJump, where those guys are, of course, are our real sponsors for this week. Full of festive cheer. You get all sorts if you go to Patreon, including asking questions on this podcast. That's what's in the hat that I will put on the floor in a minute. Keep it away from me.
No, don't, please.
I'm going to do it.
No.
You also get exclusive access to episodes of Rules Boss and Main Menu, early access to episodes of Worst and Weirdest Games, as well as loads of other stuff. Go and check it out, patreon.com/Team TripleJump. TripleJump shop, of course. You can go and get yourself some merchandise. You're wearing a hoodie.
I am wearing the hoodie.
I'm wearing a shirt that is no longer available.
Yeah. It's never been a more exciting time to be a gamer.
To be a gamer, it says. It's a Shakespeare quote.
And it never has. been more
it's
exciting
never
time
been
to be
no
a gamer.
It's always exciting to be a gamer. And so but just Merry Christmas. Hope you had a lovely time. Hope you're keeping well and safe and happy
and full of food.
Now, I don't know yet. This was a job for me this week, a month in advance of this podcast going out, which was to decide what I'm going to do a big stream on over Christmas and New Year. There's a good chance that's happening this week. It may well have happened already. If it hasn't, check it out. Check out our socials because I'll be promoting it and I'll be streaming on Twitch. And I think
it probably will have happened already.
Well, I think what I might have done then was stream the entirety of Ride to Hell Retribution. I think that's what I'm thinking of doing.
Nice.
Real stinker, that one. So, shall we begin with some questions then?
Yes, let's. I'd like to thank this is going to be a bit weird because this is people's Discord names because we had a bit of a frantic moment of Peter's not here and we had plans and it's all gone to skew with.
Yes.
So, if you hear your name and you're like, these aren't patrons' names, it's their Discord names. So I'm kind of outing them a little bit on their Discord names as well. This comes from David, absolute plorps in brackets. They're building a statue of a video game character of your choice right outside of your house. Who are you choosing to loom over you?
Oh, how big do you think the statue is?
If it's looming over me, it's at least going to have to be like 10 foot tall, right?
On a plinth or just like...
In my head, I'm thinking plinth statue. I'm thinking like man on a horse type statue that you see in like most towns.
Put a cone on his head.
Have you seen the one of those in Derby, in Durham?
Which one?
The man on the horse in Durham.
I'm not sure.
One of the weirdest looking horse statues ever. Like
really?
It's a proper fat horse.
It's a thick horse.
Yeah.
Oh God, I mean,
I'm thinking like plinth goes up to like chest height.
Okay, and then there's
statue.
Statue. So you do have to look at it, and it's like just outside your house.
Yeah.
Okay, gonna get a lot of foot traffic from
road.
that. Yeah, it's gonna block my drive probably.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's already so many cars parked on my street. I just don't feel like I can handle that. But I guess we'll have to deal with it.
Oh, it's going to become a Pokestop as well. And they're all the losers.
Well, if it's a Pokemon, it definitely will be.
They're all going to come around and drop their lures and stuff, try and catch stuff. I'd quite like I want a friend.
You'd want like something nice to look at. You'd either want like something cute, like your Astrobots, or like someone who you really like who's really cool.
Yeah, that's true. I want to be
really
like, cool.
Whenever you see like a statue of like Aloy, for example, she's like mid-arrow and she always looks really cool.
Yeah, properly posed.
But I feel like that's a bit of a basic answer for me. So maybe I'll think of something else while you...
How about Deacon St. John from Days Gone on his motorcycle? You don't see many statues of people on motorbikes, do you?
You don't see many people on statues of people on motorbikes, no. That's a good one.
Is it?
No.
No, it's not, is
but
it?
The
You're being polite.
motorbike's cool.
Yeah.
Why not like Cloud on the motorbike?
That would be very cool,
if you
actually.
wanted the motorbike.
Yeah, I'd like all of them. Can we have all of them? All of the boys from Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah,
just like your favourite party members. So it will be Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett.
Yeah.
Just have them stood there back to back. That would be pretty rad.
Yeah, that would be cool. In position to start killing.
Yes.
Like he's got his sword out, Barrett's aiming his gun, and Tifa's just gently putting her fists up, ready to fist fight monsters.
She's ready to kick things in the face.
She's like, you have a gun? Well, I have two fists of fury.
I got two guns. Ka-chow! Oh, man. What would be a funny one? Would be like, where do you live? I live next to the one with the Dragon Quest slime. The giant poo-shaped thing out the front. That would
be a good one. Just like a bit of goo.
Just a bit of
goo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, oh, it's a splat from Splatoon, or it's a goo ball from World of Goo.
Yeah.
And it's just like a circle with eyes. That would be good.
Yeah. From Splatoon where it's in the ink.
Yeah.
Not the kid.
Yeah.
In squid mode.
Yeah.
Just flat.
Yeah.
On a plinth. You can't really see it at all.
I want Astrobot, but I would like the ability. So there's this people I follow on TikTok who have like a changing of the goose every month. They have like a little goose statue who they dress up to like with the most like the biggest movie of the month.
Oh, okay.
So it was like dressed as Barbie.
Is it a real goose?
No, it's like a statue of a goose,
okay,
and then they have a little pig next to it as well.
Right.
But they call it the changing of the goose, and they change his outfit. And I would like to do that with Astrobot, but like every month there's the changing of the bot, and like he gets a new outfit. And he gets to dress up as someone new.
That would be cool. Or right? Hear me
Right,
out.
yeah.
Full-size plinth,
Yeah.
life-size Pikmin on it. So it's this huge plinth, and it's just got two
It's
little
like
guys
an
on
inch
it.
tall.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like, what is that? Why is there just a giant cube
What
there?
you probably want is that like the plinth there's nothing on the plinth, but under the plinth are thousands of Pikmin holding it up.
Yeah.
Like you can just see all the Pikmin underneath.
That
just
would be
like,
great.
It's like an inch off the ground.
Oh, God. Right. So, again, I have this problem on After Dark where I try to think about it in too realistic terms in terms of how much it would affect my life day to day.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like the cooler the idea, the more people who are going to show up.
Yeah,
So if I
true.
want to go full cool, if I want it to look like an actual statue, it would probably be Geralt on his horse, on Roach. That would be a good
That is
statue.
a good one. Yeah.
Alternatively, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Or the Spider-Men.
Yeah.
But people would come far and wide to see that.
That's the thing.
They would block my drive.
But I feel like people would come far and wide to watch the changing of the bot.
Well, that's true as well. So what is
The
a
changing
statue?
of the goose gets like millions of views. I can only imagine how much the changing of the bot would get.
What's a statue that would be nice
No
to
one would come and see
but
it.
no one's going to want to come and see it?
You probably want something like a bit weird and obscure, like that's
Like the main character from Forspoken.
Yeah.
Not offensive.
Yeah.
It's fine there.
Probably look quite cool.
She could do a cool pose, but
Yeah.
no one's coming to see that.
Yeah.
It's just
That
there.
is a good one.
I feel like if you go too far the other way, like the Lord of the Rings Gollum, people would come and see that
Because
because
it's
it'd be like,
funny.
look at the
It's a meme.
state of
Yeah.
that thing. Yeah.
I'd like just a Roblox guy.
Square man.
Square man.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Minecraft Steve.
But the kids love Roblox
That's true,
and
they love
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
They yearn for the mines.
Mummy, take me to see the Roblox Man.
Yeah, can I please go and see him?
I want a Roblox Man that's the size of the Angel of the North.
That would be better than the Angel
Which
of the North.
actually is much smaller than I thought.
It's crap,
I
isn't
drove
it?
past it recently and I was like, oh,
Have you actually been up to see it?
no.
It's fine.
You'd make it like an hour of it. Like it would
You
take
wouldn't.
longer. You'd take longer for me to drive to the
Yeah,
Angel
it
of
would-
the North than it would for actually
To actually
look
get
at
to it is more of a pain in the
Is
arse.
there
than
like a
actually-
coffee shop or anything there?
I think there's a kiosk, there's a car park.
Oh.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So you can park there.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me about the Angel of the North, right, is that they don't even light it up at night.
What?
They don't light it up at night.
Why not?
I don't know. So it
doesn't
just
take that much
disappears.
effort
It's
to
like an
put a pink
iconic
light on it or
thing
something.
as you drive into Newcastle. You can't see it after 4 p.m. It's gone.
I don't know if I'm telling the truth here, but I think I am. I think the Angel of North is a month older than I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Do
Or
they
I'm a
light
month
you up
older
at
than-
night?
I could be. I could get lit at night.
Get lit every night.
Yeah.
Fam.
Yeah.
Statue of the North is crap. That's not what I would like.
I'm actually going to figure out if I
This
just
is an
told a
important
lie.
thing that we need
'Cause
to
I don't know if I
determine.
did.
So you think what, like 1998?
I think it was 98, yeah.
July? July 98.
Okay, it was completed in 1998, which was the same year I was born.
Yeah, you were
Does
completed
it
in
say
98
when?
as well.
It was completed on the 15th of February, 1998. So it's 4 months older than I am. 5
Wow.
months older than I am. So it's not that special, is it?
No,
Do you know
it's
what I mean?
not.
It's 26 and a half years old.
It hasn't travelled. It's never gone anywhere. It just sits there and they don't
Yeah.
even light it up.
That's crazy that they don't even like it.
It's just like,
madness.
put some effort in. Put some lights on it
Yeah.
at Christmas or something.
Yeah,
It's
put
like...
a massive Christmas hat
It's
on
made
it.
of like corrugated folds as well. So
Yeah.
there's like loads of crevices for fairy lights. to
My
go in
Ben
and
was
stuff.
saying that we were driving at it from behind, and he was like, "That's rubbish. It
It
doesn't
is
even look like
rubbish.
wings. It looks like she's got a skateboard on her back." And then we were driving towards it, and it looks better from the front than it does from the back.
Yeah.
But
No bum
anyway,
either.
that wasn't the question. But
No bum on
I'd
the
make
statue.
a Roblox guy as big as the Angel of the North.
Okay, I would like. I'll have Geralt of Rivia.
Cool.
I'll take it on the chin. And
He'd be
just-
called my guy would be like the blocks of the beach because I live right
yeah.
near the beach. So
That'd be good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I know it says it has to be right outside my house, but I guess I could be like, can you put it a bit further down that way? So
Yeah,
it's
could you just
on
move
the
it
beach.
slightly for me, please?
Yeah.
That would be great. Right, I've got a question here from Lazisom.
I bet you have.
If you could, well, I bloody do. If you could erase your memory of one game and play it again completely fresh, which game would you pick?
I literally had this conversation with someone recently about a game that I wish I could play again for the first time.
Yeah.
I think it's Forbidden West
Okay.
because I loved that game and it had multiple like out loud gasp moments
Mm-hmm.
for me, and I would love to experience that again for
Yeah.
the first time because it was just great.
Yeah.
I think.
There's a few for me.
Yeah.
And they're usually the ones that I've gone back and replayed over the years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish games were as good as this now, but they're not. That would be Mass Effect 2. Mm-hmm. And to a degree, Mass Effect 3 as well. The ending gets so much hate, but I think the journey through that game is just as good as Mass Effect 2. It's just that Mass Effect 2 ends a lot stronger.
Yeah.
And obviously, Mass Effect 3 had the unbearable weight of expectations of trying to wrap everything up. And they did a bad job. Still a great game, though, IMO. It would be that. It would be Marvel's Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I think that was one of the last times I got like fully obsessed with a game. Like it's all I could think about.
It was a really good game.
And probably maybe even Final Fantasy VII Remake, like Part 1. Because I loved the demo portion, like the opening reactor bit.
Yeah.
And then I was super, super unimpressed when it got to the first town, Sector 8. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, huge fan over here, me.
Yeah, this guy.
And you have to chase cats around as a side quest. And I was like, oh my God, this is how they've extended the playtime?
And then you played Rebirth, and you were like, oh...
I didn't like Rebirth as much as Remake.
I know,
that's
what I'm saying. Like, this is how they've extended the gameplay.
I know, it's crazy, and it got so much more love and praise than Remake did. But once I got through that, it was just like I loved it so much because it didn't differentiate too much, but it expanded upon things I thought in a really fun way that I was super into, and all the music was brilliant, and it was just like I could have spent much longer in Midgard than that. But it was, I'd probably say one of those.
Yeah, I think I'd also probably, like, on thinking about it, I would love to play through Half-Life Alyx again, just without any knowledge of what's coming, because I loved that game. We played it over the pandemic and I had such a good time with it. And there's so many moments that I remember like so fondly.
Yeah.
And I would love to just have those moments again. Obviously, like it's hard to, have those exact moments, but there's such key points in that game that are just like so invigorating and fun to play that I would love to start it again and give it another go. I think like all your favorite games you kind of want to play again without...
Batman Arkham City as well as another one.
Yeah.
Loved that game. I'd love to play that
Part
again.
of me says like The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, but then I just don't think I could handle that trauma again.
I've still not replayed Part 2.
I haven't. I keep thinking like maybe I should, especially ahead of the series, but I'm like, do you know what? I just can't bring myself to do it.
It's also really long.
It's really long.
It's such a long game.
Every time you think it's going to end, it carries on. And it's long and it's just a really difficult to get
harrowing.
through.
Yeah, it definitely is.
It's almost too real, I think. Like there's like a fine line. You think like I really love a game to be like grounded and in reality and feel like I'm part of the story, but also that's too real.
It's challenging.
I don't want to kill someone's dog and then hear them going,
no, someone killed the dog.
Where's my dog? Fred, here boy. And I'm like staring at the dead dog.
You
like,
did that.
I don't want to do that, DJ Chisels asks, what do you think makes a really damn good narrative game? And are there any that you've particularly enjoyed over the past decade?
Yes.
Yes.
There are.
I mostly enjoy narrative-driven games. I think we both do, to be honest.
Definitely. It's one of the things I look for the most. I mean, a big part of it for me, if there is indeed any aspect of performance involved, it has to be good. It has to be a competent performance. And I think accents are a big thing for me.
Yeah.
I can just hear straight through when it's an American doing an English accent and vice versa. And sometimes it sounds that really takes me out of
It's
things.
quite hard to listen to when you know.
Yeah, that's not right.
It's not right. Because you hear every little thing that's wrong. That's kind of like, I wouldn't say it like that. I've never heard anyone speak like that. But yeah. I know that you specifically feel that way about Hades.
Oh, Hades does my head in. Yeah, that's one I can't. I'm not going to play the sequel. No, I'm not going to do it. It's just the voice acting in that game gets a lot of praise, but all I can hear is bad English accents, and it does my nut in.
Yeah.
Mate. In terms of like specifying what a good narrative is, it's actually a very challenging thing to specify. It's like I know it when I see it kind of thing. Like I if I feel involved with the characters and I care about them, then it's significant. There have been lots of games that have had narratives where I just not that interested in what's going on, and I just want to get back to the next piece of gameplay, you know?
A friend and I were talking recently, and it was to do with a play and not a game, but we were talking and we were like, a play's got to have a good story. If it doesn't have a good story, it's got to have good characters. If it hasn't got a good story or good characters or good character development, it's got to be funny. Like, it's got to have something that you come out of the other end being like, wow, I chuckled my way through that whole thing. Or the story was all right, but I absolutely loved the main character. Or if the main character isn't someone who you're super like, I think that hurts a game as well. If your main character either isn't likable or isn't interesting enough, I think it can be really hard to get through a story. Like, you can be like a nameless protagonist, but still be an interesting enough character or have an interesting enough story that it gets you through to the end of the game because you're an important enough character. Obviously, there's that whole thing like, you know, you've got plot armor. You're a character that has to make it to the end because you are the hero of the world. And that can sometimes be a bit difficult to like get through in games. Is like, well, I know that I'm going to have to do this, so everyone's going to wait for me to do it. No one's going to do it without me. Like Horizon Forbidden West, for example, my boyfriend really struggled with it because he was like, I'm doing all this side stuff and I feel like it's been like 12 hours since I've actually done any of the main story stuff because there's so much other stuff. Whereas I was like really, really into the story because I wanted to know what was going to happen next, but still let myself wander off. So I think like if you have got an open world game, you have to make sure that your story is compelling enough to get people to do what they're supposed to do. Because if you've just got one where you can just meander about the place for hours and hours on end, and like the story itself is only maybe like 8 hours, but it's filled with like 60 hours of just other stuff, then you struggle, I think, with the narrative balance a little bit.
Even in the best of narratives, I think you're right. Like a lot of my issues with some of these bigger games is self-inflicted. So God of War, Ragnarok had phenomenal performances in, and I cared about what was happening, and I didn't know what was going to happen next, and I wanted to see what was going to happen.
And the characters are compelling, like
they are, and I think that's like that's a 10 across the board for me. Like I was super into that, but my own compulsion to stray from the golden path and do every single side thing that it showed me because I didn't want to miss it. And some of the best performance work from those actors is in that side stuff, like reconciling past issues and so on. Really, really good. But I feel like I'm just like your Ben said with Forbidden West. Like I'm ruining the pace of the game, and by in so doing, ruining the immersion as well, because I want to help these people ASAP, and I want to save the world, but also this woman needs 6 herbs. And if I get her that, then I get yellow armor, and that's really important to me.
I think it's one of those things where like the issue is when it's like a world saving thing. Like you are the only person who can save the world. I think that struggles to be open world because you're like, I'm faffing about. How am I supposed to save the world when I'm faffing? I'm like climbing all the way up here to get a collectible item that I don't really need. Whereas like I've been playing through Ghost of Tsushima where I'm not going to save the world. I'm trying to just help the people of Tsushima out. So I'm like, I don't mind that I'm meandering around doing all these side quests and getting all these question marks and clearing out all these camps because it's for the greater good of the game. The greater good. In my head. Whereas like if it's like the world is ending, there's a bad guy who's gonna take over the world, and part of me is like every minute I'm faffing is a minute that they are progressing to their goal. But like it obviously doesn't happen like that. So I think that's a really difficult balance to meet. But I think a good narrative is just one that either has compelling characters or a story that just draws you in and like gives you something to work for.
It's that whole quote that gets butchered and misappropriated all the time about pornography where you can't describe it, but you know it when you see it kind of thing. a good narrative is subjective, but there are certainly objective parts to it, I would
Absolutely.
say. And that's, I would argue, is one of the strengths of reviews generally, as much crap as they get, is that's a really good barometer. If there's a slew of critics who said the story's really good, you may not like it, but that's a good indication that there's a chance that you will.
Yeah.
And if you have to stop because you've got to spend 3 hours painfully slowly canoeing your way around like an archipelago to pick up flipping whatever they're called. I can't remember what the collectibles were. In
the
God
ravens.
of War. Yeah, to throw axes at ravens, then so be it. That may ruin that for you slightly, but I think that's always something that's going to be a problem that's intrinsic with video games. It's a very difficult thing to get around unless it's like a David Cage game or something like that, which is just narrative.
Well, I think you mentioned Forspoken earlier, and I think the reason that the narrative of Forspoken sounded relatively interesting, but had a less likable main character, so therefore people just wrote off the narrative. The narrative wasn't strong enough to justify putting up with the main character. But then I also feel the other way about, oh my god, what is that game that came out that was like a first-person shooter magic game?
Oh yeah, Legends of
something.
Avium.
Avium. Where the main character was relatively likable and like a pretty decent character, but the narrative itself just was not super interesting.
Yeah,
and the gameplay was naff, and it wasn't strong enough to keep you playing.
Sometimes it really does feel like they're building backwards from the mechanics and the
concept
gameplay.
of the gameplay.
Yeah, which is fine. I think what was the launch title for the PS5 that Gearbox published? I can't remember. I want to say Battleborn, but that's not it. It was like Godfall.
Godfall, the like night one. Yeah.
That was gameplay first, story backseat, and that's fine. A lot of games need to be fun at the end of the day, and sometimes that's totally fine. Like I play zombies a lot at the moment, and I couldn't give less of a hoot about what's going on, mainly because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I would happily skip those cutscenes because I enjoy spending like an hour to an hour and a half just sprinting around shooting things. Like you get different things out of different games, and I get that. But that is an example where not even the gameplay was strong enough to hold up the experience. Next question. This comes from our great friend Connor Bennett. You're welcome, Connor. Lifted you up a bit there. If you had to play one console's library and any physical backwards compatibility library, so think PS4 on PS5 but not Virtual Console on the Wii, for the rest of time, what would you choose? So if you had to pick only one console's library and any physical backwards compatibility library. Right.
So are we saying like I have to have the physical, it has to be physically back compatible?
Yeah, so like PS2 plays PS1 games, I assume, something like that.
Okay, I see. So I couldn't use like PlayStation 5 and then play PlayStation 2 games on it via like PlayStation Plus. That's cheating.
Yeah, okay. They're not that way.
Physically backwards compatible.
I mean, to be honest, I think
I'm going to have a really boring answer.
It may well be the same as mine, which is also pretty boring. But as someone who's already embedded in that ecosystem, I just think the amount of games that have been ported via collections and things like that would probably put me on the system that I play most of my games on already, which is the PS5 or even the PS4. Even though that has no physical backwards compatibility, that had a whole load of collections released for things like BioShock and Batman and a lot of games, and Mass Effect, all the games that I really enjoyed. So yeah, maybe either the PS5 or the PS4.
I think if I was going to make sure that I was able to get physical copies of games, you'd want to go older. But for the games I like playing, even though sometimes it's harder to get physical copies of games now, and it may be that the case in like 5 years' time, I'm not able to get any new games because nothing releases physically anymore, I would still pick the PlayStation 5. Yeah. I think I'm too spoiled now.
I think that's it. This generation does get a lot of crap with good reason, but we are in an age of convenience, and I think if that question to me reeks of convenience over. Yeah. For me, it would be convenience over nostalgia. Yes, I loved my Game Boy, and I could get a Game Boy Advance SP and play all the Game Boy Advance games and great Game Boy games and Game Boy Color games that have ever come out. That'd be great. But at the end of the day, those are nearly 25-year-old games, older in many cases, and
also you're not going to get any more games for that system.
No,
if that's the only game like console you can play for the rest of time, once you've gone through all the games you've got that are out, there's not going to be any more launching. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that the PlayStation 5 games will launch forever. And maybe we would screw ourselves because maybe there's less games that we would actually be able to play.
But those sickos would still be releasing PS5 games in 2035.
Absolutely they would. So I would pick the PlayStation 5. I'm spoiled and I'm a child and I want PlayStation 5.
I think for most people, I would be surprised if for most people their answer would not be
their most recent console.
Yeah, their current gen platform, just because it's so good.
Yeah. Who's afraid of little old me? ? Asks. If you could get any kind of gaming related purchase for Christmas, no monetary limit at all, what would it be?
Well, I can answer Peter's one because he's mentioned this throughout the years, and that is a press kit for Spyro 1.
Yeah.
He says that they keep showing up. I haven't heard him mention it this year, actually.
No.
But throughout the years, they've always shown up on eBay, and they've been steadily going up and up in price. Yeah, and he really wants one, but he just can't justify it.
Yeah.
So that's what Peter would like, I reckon.
Yeah. Do you know what I've always wanted to try? What? And if it was like just as a Christmas present and I could maybe sell it on if I didn't use it. You know those like VR things where you like strap in and you can like
run around
on
in
the
your
spot?
socks.
Yeah. I like they have in the Community. Mm-hmm. I've recently watched the Community compilation, having never watched Community.
Why have you not watched Community?
Because I can't stand cringe comedy, and I felt like I was like,
I don't think it's that cringe though.
Yeah, I just don't like it when it's like an awkward moment. But I basically Paget Brewster, who we all know I love, was in Community,
yes. Mm-hmm.
and there was YouTube was like, you want to watch this compilation of her bits? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Your wife.
My wife. And yeah, so like that kind of thing has always interested me to see how like
how immersive
is it? Exactly. Like there's those like VR like games that you can go and play at like escape rooms and stuff. They have like VR versions now where you can do the Assassin's Creed thing. And I'm always like, I wonder how immersive that actually is, like how involved it is in terms of, does it feel like you're actually there? But I would wonder if I was going to have it at home, just like one of those, to see how good it actually is.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
I mean, I don't know where I would put it.
Oh, I don't know where I'd put that. Those things are flipping massive.
That's true. If I had a dedicated room and I closed the blinds to the statue in the front garden, I couldn't see it anymore. Yeah. And I was like, I want another statue. You know when
you have like the like soundproof glass, so you couldn't hear everyone going, look, it's Geralt.
They've got a thing in there.
Take a picture of me on the horse.
So unrealistic would be one of those amazing character statues they have in like every development studio around the world from their games. So Guerrilla have a big old Helghast, and they'll have an Aloy and other stuff like that. I think Sucker Punch have some infamous stuff, but they certainly have a Jin Sakai there. And I think there's probably a Bloodborne one floating around somewhere.
Yeah.
Definitely a Kratos, Spider-Man.
There is definitely those.
So like just a giant life-size statue, I think would be really cool. You see them sometimes in like Forbidden Planets, but it's some knackered, really tired Spider-Man that's wearing the outfit from the Tobey Maguire movie. And it's all faded and looks awful, but you're like, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, to be fair.
A slightly more realistic one.
Yeah.
Space-wise, but I don't know if it's realistic in terms of, does this thing actually physically exist somewhere? And if it did, goodness me, how much money would I have to pay for it? Is the original model of the PS3 that was shown off, the silver one, with the banana controller.
Yes.
Just one of those. Doesn't have to work.
Yeah.
Just a display model. They've got to be somewhere.
Like a press kit version of it. There must be one.
They must have made some, even though I think the physical design of the console itself remained the same, but they changed it from silver to black for launch. That controller along with it.
That would be really cool.
That'd be a cool thing to have.
It would. You'd also probably need like a few more shelves.
I already need more shelves. All my 30th anniversary.
Have you figured out, I was going to say where you're putting those,
I have an idea.
They were going to go on the shelf underneath the other anniversary edition.
Which means I need to move other stuff to a different place. This is the problem with having a problem.
Ben's house is very cool. It is like walking into a little museum, but I do worry that like
I don't have the space.
You're going to outgrow the room it's in.
I'm very grateful that my girlfriend is so
She's
so
very
cool
much like, like she's lost half of her living room, and she's just like
she never had half the living room. As soon as we bought the house, it was
shelves
like,
were in.
Unfortunately, this is where this has to go. She's very minimalist, and so it just makes my life a lot easier, and she's fine with it.
It's so funny to me that like she is very minimalist, and I don't think you could be more like maximalist in terms of the stuff that you own.
I just like having things, but it's not like a lot of it is tat, right? Bits of press kits.
I don't think it's like tat.
Well, some of it is. Bits of press kits I've gotten over the years through various jobs and things like. But the actual display cabinets themselves, I think, with all the Game Boys in and my memorabilia, I think is pretty good. I'm happy with that stuff. Cool. I think I'm very happy with my little collection. I just need more space.
You almost need like to set a final goal of like, this is the last thing I need for my collection. And
I finished my Game Boys. That's the thing.
Your Game Boys are finished.
But I have added to the collection.
I feel proud to have contributed to the collection.
You did, yes. You gave me a pink Game Boy Advance SP.
Yeah.
The problem is that every so often I get drunk. It's not very often, though, that I get drunk. It's very rare.
Very rare.
And I'll end up just scrolling on eBay like, what's some absolute crap that I could buy?
It's always fun after like when suddenly we're in the office and like a bunch of stuff starts arriving for Ben, and it's not like around Christmas time, or like anyone's birthday, and it's like Ben had a good weekend.
Fun weekend then, yeah. I bought like 3 PS3 controllers, and I don't know if they're gonna work.
A stinky old Mario. What was it, like an instruction manual?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, that was a low point. Yeah.
And it was like stunk of smoke.
I think that was because I had a day session on my tattoo like the day before, and I'd booked the day off afterwards, and I was gonna get.
You were like, I sat in bed having vodka. Yeah. And then I bought.
I made like 4 drinks for myself. This is before I met my girlfriend. I made like 4 or 5 drinks for myself in various cups, moved them to my bedside table, and then I just put on a TV show with my entire arms just like swollen and throbbing, and I just got flipping wasted and bought like 6 Game Boys.
Yeah.
And then I got a pizza, and then I had a hangover at like 11 a.m. That was bad. Of the day that I was drinking.
Yeah, so. That is brutal. An 11 a.m. hangover. One of my hairs is on this Christmas tree.
Oh, no.
Could it be from this year, or could it be from last year?
It's tough to say. Right, next question. This comes from Chris Thompson's Thumbs, who said, is there a game...
Who?
Chris Thompson's Thumbs.
Who?
Chris Thompson's Thump. Is there a game you gave a second chance to after disliking it first time around and ended up really enjoying? I cannot think of a time where I've gone back to a game that I didn't enjoy initially, that I then ended up seeing through and I did enjoy it. Most of my experiences are I didn't enjoy it, I put it to one side, came back, and I still didn't enjoy it. And I either forced my way through it or I gave up again. Final Fantasy 13 is an example of that. Played a lot of that. Didn't really like it, didn't hate it. And then I came back to it a long time afterwards, really gave it a good go, still didn't enjoy it. Got right to the end, couldn't beat the last boss because I'd leveled up my characters in a stupid way, apparently, and all the guides were like, equip this. And I was like, I literally don't have that. And I'm at a save point where I can't go back. So that's the end for me.
I don't know if, there must have been one, like, that I maybe started playing. I feel like I did that with Horizon, you know. I don't think I didn't like it. I think I just got distracted, never finished it. And then waited a few years and then ended up playing it again. And like, I vaguely remember giving it a go. I don't know how I was playing it at a friend. I don't think it was I didn't like it. I think we started playing it at a friend's house. And then I went home. We never picked it up again. I didn't have a PlayStation to play it on. And then I didn't play it again until I had my own PlayStation a few years later. I think it was like while I was at uni. But maybe Horizon. I don't know. I might be misremembering what game it was, but I feel like there was a game that I did that with. The thing about me is that I seemingly recently keep getting confused about games. One example being Ghost of Tsushima, in that I thought Ghost of Tsushima was Sekiro, and I kept, in my head, whenever I think about playing it, I was like, no, because it's going to be too hard, because it's like a Souls-like. Even though it's not, and I had no reason to think that, I just had it in my head that it was going to be too hard, so then never picked it up. But then recently I've been playing it, and I've been thoroughly enjoying every minute with it, because it's not Sekiro and it's not really hard. But for some reason, in my head, those two games were one game, and I couldn't play it.
Gollum. That's one for you. You didn't like it the first time. We've since gone back, and you're loving it. You're having the best time with it.
Let's not tell lies.
We don't know yet because we haven't actually
We haven't started it again, but I'm almost certain.
Probably going to love it.
I'm not going to love it.
I'm so glad you said Sekiro, though, because that actually does remind me of two specific examples, that being Demon Souls and Dark Souls, both of which I started playing on a friend's recommendation, didn't get it, got my ass kicked over and over again, returned to a few years later with that same friend who basically dragged me through both of them, and then just fell completely in love with that series.
With my friend.
With my friend. Didn't like Sekiro though. Couldn't get into Sekiro.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one didn't work out. But certainly Demon Souls and Dark Souls were that
nice.
exact scenario for me.
Is that your question?
I think so.
Okay.
Beg your pardon?
Okay. Billy Ray Zerus says, if you could reboot any dormant franchise, what would it be? We're talking franchise here.
We're talking franchises here. Resistance. It's been a very PlayStation heavy episode for me. A lot of my answers rooted in that. But yeah.
That's not like us. We're Xbox.
What are you talking about? Look at my jumper. It's got a big X on it for Xbox.
Phil Spencer's on the back.
Yeah. No, that's just my back piece tattoo that I'm having worked on. Yeah, Resistance for me. I think it's baffling that series was abandoned because I wasn't a huge fan of two. Excuse me. I thought 3 was phenomenal. I don't know if Insomniac will ever have the manpower to dedicate to a Resistance game alongside the other stuff they're doing, and they might just not believe in it because Spider-Man is going to sell 10 billion copies and Resistance probably wouldn't. And that's probably an indictment of where we are in the industry now because they can't afford to take a risk like that. But yeah, certainly that I would love to see. Just even a collection. Yeah. It's stuck on PS3. That's mad.
Yeah, that is. I think I've played the first Resistance and I really enjoyed it. But wait, was Resistance one you can play in co-op?
Resistance 1 and Resistance 3 had split screen co-op and on.
But in Resistance 1, am I right remembering that they were like John and Joe or something? And
that's 3.
That's 3. And they'd only ever refer to the main character, even though the other guy was like right there.
It was the same with 1 as well. There was just a guy who was with you who wasn't even referred to by name.
I've played 3 then. I've not played 1. And I did enjoy it. It's good fun.
3 was great. Yeah, they're good at making guns, the Insomniac lot. Ratchet and Clank and so on.
I don't know if it's technically dormant. I don't know if it's been long enough to call it dormant, but I really like Watch Dogs.
Okay.
And I would personally like them to make another Watch Dogs game because I love it. Love a little techie little nonsense. Love it. Hacking. Great. I really liked Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah.
I know that not everyone did, and I know that like it's quite famously like people did not like it and they thought it was a bad entry into the series. However, I really liked it.
So there.
I liked being a little grandma hacking into things. I thought that was funny.
Could you get your grandma killed?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If you had like permadeath on, which I don't think I did because I didn't want any of them to die. I had so many people in my team, like way too many. I would only play as like my character that I developed first and maybe like one spy character and everyone else just got left to just be a part of the team.
I think that's how I would do it. It's how I played Pokemon anyway.
Yeah.
Just train up the first one and that's it.
But I really liked Watch Dogs and I want to go back and play some of the older ones, but like I just haven't had the time / had it in me to go back and play them yet. So, but I would really love another Watch Dogs game because I really, really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it's dormant. I guess not technically because they're like launching all the remasters. I want another Tomb Raider game.
Yeah.
I love Tomb Raider and I loved the Crystal Dynamics like trilogy that they did a few years ago. And I would love another one, please, if you would be so kind. I said like before that I would love to see a like complete remake of the original trilogy and like see that from in the same engine as the other ones. But I don't know if we'll ever get it, but I really would like them.
Yeah.
Please,
Crystal Dynamics.
Please.
Before we move on to the next question, should I open my Pokemon card pack for today?
Oh yes, please.
Haven't done that yet. Let's find out what
Hope
boys.
You get a shiny one.
Oh,
Last time we did this,
good.
it was kind of
underwhelming, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, we'll have a look and see what I get. Okay, I'm going to open the pack now. Eventually, it's thinking about it, so there must be a really big shiny in it. Here we go. Opening the pack. We've got a Heliolisk. Yeah.
Okay.
Ghastly.
Love that.
Lickitung.
Ew.
Rattata.
Yeah.
Dodrio. And that's it. It's rubbish again. That's a bad one.
I don't feel like you ever get good ones.
I've got no good ones there. I got a Gengar yesterday. That was a shiny. That was pretty exciting. But not today.
I didn't like
Terrible.
the licky one.
Lickitung.
Yeah.
That's one of the original ones. There's a famous anime still where it licks one of the characters and it looks proper dodgy.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
I don't know what to tell you. It's the Japanese. They did it. They love that stuff.
Okay.
The crazy Pokemon designs. Have you seen the keys?
The keys?
There's a Pokemon that's keys. It's just a set of keys.
No, I haven't.
There's also
seen
one
that
that's an ice cream.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Trubbish?
Is it a bin?
It's a bin bag, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have seen
But
that
it's
one.
cursed with sentience.
That's sad.
It is sad.
So in the Pokemon universe, do they ever explain why like some of them are animals and some of them are just like things?
I don't know. I've never really watched the anime.
Okay.
Or read any books.
Right.
But I played the games. I just make them kill each other. That's the only bit I'm
You just
into.
like
And I like to get the cards.
fighting mechanic.
Exactly, yeah. So that's it.
Okay. Well, I don't know about you, Ben.
Go on.
But I want to know who's produces podcast this week.
Yeah, I was wondering who's doing it because like they haven't showed up yet. Where are
they supplied us with this Christmas hat, but normally we do weird news, but because it's so far in advance, we haven't got weird news this week. So I thought I'd just tell you who the podcast producers are.
I would love that, and they would love that too.
Yeah. Also, if you have signed up for Christmas Day, check back next week because this is an advance. Okay. The podcast producers for this podcast are Chip Thompson's Thumbs, Gabrielle Philippink, GY Goliath, Nexus Polaris, Nicole Hansen, Blake Thomas, Janet Wicks, David Cam, Eric Siu, Great Giggity, Michael Pendlebury, Katie Garrard, and Big Money, Bobby Vegas.
Wow.
Wah, wah.
Thank you so much, podcast producers.
Thank you, podcast producers.
We appreciate you very much.
I think it's your turn. Was it my turn or your turn? I'm not sure.
My turn to do a question. We've got a couple more in there after this. Right, here we are. This question comes from CHR1597, which of course is Cr1597.
Cr15.
What's the best value for money you've ever got from a game? Whether that's hours versus money spent or just a really good experience you'd have been happy paying more for.
That's a good question.
The most amount of hours I've put into a game, it's difficult to quantify. My friend who loves Borderlands just as much as we do, but has more numbers to back it up, saw my playtime on like my main character in Borderlands 2 and he was like, really? Only like 70 hours? And I was like, yeah.
What else is there to do?
Because I play because he does New Game Plus. He just plays it again and again.
That's crazy behavior.
Yeah, well, my reasoning was I have other things that I need to play. I can't just sit here and play Borderlands all day. I can't do that over and over again. And when I do, I make a different character usually. But certainly, PlayStation tracks how long you've been playing games for now. But it does a wonky job.
Yeah.
And it's not always correct. But I think
Is it if you leave it like in rest mode, it doesn't count it, does it? Or does it like there's a bit of a wonk where like sometimes it might?
I just think it doesn't count it sometimes for no reason. Like, you know those wrap-ups you get at the end of the year?
Yeah, the roundup thing. Yeah, they always a bit wonky.
It's very strange. Like, I played through a game in co-op. It would have been Borderlands 3 that year. I played it through in co-op with my friend, and I definitely played way more hours than him because I was getting all the trophies and doing additional stuff when we weren't playing together, and he wasn't. And his playtime was like 30 hours more than mine. Doesn't make any sense. So I don't know if these are accurate, but certainly, you're right. What are you looking at?
It's just like something's making a funny noise. And I was just worried that like
Is it that vent again?
A bird was coming through the vent or something. It was
it's not going to be
freaking me out.
Through. It's probably okay.
It's probably fine, but it was just making a funny noise, and I was trying to listen to you, but it was also like, what if a bird?
What is that? What if a bird?
I was like, what if I just start seeing a little beak?
I don't think it's going to get through.
No, I know, probably not, but just was distracting me.
Just wanted to be safe.
Yeah.
In terms of hours played, then it might be Bloodborne, because Bloodborne I think is up there as one of my most played games according to Sony's own statistics.
Yeah.
Which might not be correct.
Yeah.
So that's probably one. Certainly, I do love that game, and I've enjoyed it every time I've played it. So I've put a lot of hours into it and played it through multiple times. So I'm going to say Bloodborne for my answer.
The issue I have is that I keep girl mathing about it, and I'm like, if I played an Xbox game on Game Pass, it was free. Even though it wasn't free, like I played Game Pass for like the past 4 years. Yeah. So like it wasn't free. But like in my head, I'm like, a free game. That game cost me £0.
No investment.
No investment. But like I don't know if I would say that like every game that I've sunk like 60 hours into, I have felt like it was worth the money. Whereas I found like a few like indie or smaller games I found like really rewarding in a different way. Like I know it's quite cliche and everyone talks about it, but I really enjoyed Unpacking, and that was on Game Pass, and I played it on Game Pass, so it cost me no money.
Yes.
But like I would have happily paid more for that game than like what they were charging, because I found it so rewarding. The same with things like Stray, I really enjoyed, and Chia, I found really full and great fun, and they were, see what I mean? It's making funny noises.
It's the air conditioning cracking.
Okay,
because I think it's cooling down again after it was hot.
Cool.
It's fine,
but it was freaking me out. But yeah, I think like there's a lot of indie games that I view as like value for money, like Kana.
Yeah,
I loved that game. That game was like so vibrant and bright and brought such joy to my life that like I would happily have paid for that over again.
Yeah,
like I feel like a lot of the time when I look back on like games that I really enjoyed, that I felt like really gave me a lot to either think about or like feel, I often think about the smaller games, like Spiritfarer. Really enjoyed that game and would happily play that and pay for it again, because I just think it's just such nice indie games that have a kind of a different level of soul about them, that bring a bit more heart, to me. Yeah, a bit more heart.
Personal touch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I also think, I mean, if we're going time-wise, I've got a lot of hours out of Disney Dreamlight Valley for free to play. So
it's your favourite game
of all time
ever made.
Ever made, yeah. Love it. I love getting a fish for Timon every day.
He loves it. He just loves the fish for Timon, yeah.
This question comes from Captain Cone. What's your favourite musical gaming moment? Either something where the soundtrack elevates a great moment, or where the music ties directly in with the game.
Ooh, I have an answer for this straight away.
Yeah.
I'm immediately though. This jumper, I think, is having an effect on me because it's another PlayStation game. But it's come to the fore because I was actually talking to a friend about this the other day.
Yeah.
Spoilers for what's it called? The game from Housemarque. It was a PS5 game. I've completely forgotten the name of it. It's the shooter. It's a roguelike. It is called Returnal. That's the one. I was like, it's not Resogun. That was another one they did.
For some reason, I was thinking first person, and I thought, well, can't think. And then I was like, right, yeah.
So spoilers for Returnal. Skip ahead if you intend to play it. The thing is, it's not going to be for everyone because of the gameplay.
I didn't get past the second boss.
But the story and the mystery, very intriguing, in my opinion. You want to know what's going on, why she keeps looping back around again and again. Poor Celine. And occasionally you find like a house and you can go into the house, and it reveals maybe a little bit more cryptically. It's sort of revealed that potentially she is not on another planet, but actually she is suffering trauma from some kind of car accident.
Right.
Or actually that potentially she had a car accident in the past, but has since gone to space anyway.
Right.
But whether or not she's in the loop is a entirely. You need to watch videos to work out what's going on. It's one of those. But
it's very Remedy about it.
Very Remedy. But she is listening to Don't Fear the Reaper. You know that song? Baby, don't fear the reaper.
Yeah.
That one. She's listening to that in the car in certain flashbacks, which are revealed in more detail later on. You only get little snippets at various points throughout the game. And there is a boss which has some really like ominous organ music playing, and you've got to like parkour your way all the way up to the top of this tower. And the higher up you get, the more clearly you can hear it. And it's only afterwards that it triggers that you see a bit more of a cutscene that, oh my god, that was Don't Fear the Reaper, but it was like an organ version. They were just playing certain bits of it, and throughout the game there are musical motifs for Don't Fear the Reaper.
Oh, that's cool.
Tying it into this car accident where that was on the radio. And it's like, that was so cleverly introduced to the game in such a subtle way that you can only piece it together after the fact. And I was so impressed by that. And as much as Returnal did do my bloody head in when I was playing it, and I played it when there were like no patches, so it was really buggy as well, and I kept getting locked indoors and ruining runs and things, or locked in rooms, sorry. Like reminiscing about it, I don't feel an urge to go back and play it because the muscle memory's not there, and you have to learn a lot to get good at that game, unless you're a jammy git. But like reflecting on it, I think that game's phenomenal. Like it's really, really good. And I'm sad that I don't think it's performed too well on PC. Like not many people have bought it, but I think it's phenomenal. Really good.
The bit I played of it on in co-op, I really enjoyed, but I'm not very good at it. And I think we just stopped playing it. I think we just got busy and just never went back to it. But
it's hard. It's a tough game. I've not played it in co-op though. I should do that at some point.
Most recently, I've really loved the music in Astrobot.
Yes.
Like such a good soundtrack in that game. I loved the Astrobot covers of like other Sony properties, like the Horizon Astrobot cover was so good. I loved it. But I also loved the Horizon Forbidden West kind of title sequence song. Yeah, exactly. It sounds just like that.
I actually did that.
Yeah, it was you. Yeah. But I also, like, I don't love it all the time, but I kind of love when a game or a franchise will use real songs.
Okay.
Like, I really liked the songs in Borderlands. It's No Rest for the Wicked, is that the one?
Oh, yeah, in the opening sections. Yeah. Cage the Elephant.
Love This Girl Is on Fire.
So good.
That actually might be my favourite musical moment.
You are such a liar.
Purely just like because it has evoked such a reaction from everyone who.
You said you don't like cringe moment on TV. That was like the cringiest one.
I don't like cringe moments when like I'm kind of waiting for the cringe to happen, but now I know what's happened and now I know it's coming. I almost can't wait. Like, it's so wrong. Like, it's so incorrect. Yeah. Everything about that moment is insane and stupid and ridiculous. And then playing that song is the cherry on the nonsense cake. Like, it's so good. I actually love it. Like, you know how I love bad movies? Yeah. That's the same way I love the ending of Borderlands 3. Yeah. Because it's so bad. It's so awful. It makes no sense. It's so out of left field and feels just insane when you're watching it that I think it's perfect. No notes, 10 out of 10. Best moment in gaming ever.
Such a liar. Tales from the Borderlands is also very good for music as well. They have a piece of licensed music that plays over most of the intros. I'd heard of Jungle, the musical act, before that, but Busy Earning was such an appropriate song for one of the, I think it might have been maybe the first episode or the second episode of Tales from the Borderlands that I just went and listened to loads of Jungle's music afterwards and really enjoyed it. And similarly, radio stations in like crime sandboxes, like Sleeping Dogs. The rock station in there introduced me to Blackstone Cherry, who I had heard before in multiple wrestling games. So shout out multiple wrestling games as well for just informing my taste in music as I've gotten older. So
I also really like the radio station in Lake, the game.
Oh my god!
Because I like
it's fake music on it.
No, not fake music. They're real songs
made for the game.
No,
Were they cheap to license?
Probably.
Okay.
But I know that they're real because when I uploaded the footage of me playing on VOD's channel, I had to contact them and be like, please, may you take this off? And they were like, yeah, we'll give your channel a free pass. And like there's a specific song that me and chat love. It's called Witchcraft. And whenever it would come on, we'd turn the radio up and get really excited. So I kind of love a song that doesn't fit. That's a wonky song.
Yeah.
I kind of love it. There's like definitely moments in games that are like the music definitely amps you up and feels really good. But also there's moments where the music doesn't fit at all. And do you know what?
This girl is on
Fire. It's so good.
If you're unfamiliar, that's the bit where Lilith flies into is it the moon?
She flies into the moon and dies, ?
She blows it, she sort of explodes and then leaves a big like fire hawk on the side of the moon, and then it plays This Girl Is on Fire, and it's awful. And that's the last
just a
bit.
girl that she's on fire.
That's the last bit of the game, and it's
so
rubbish. Good. It's such a bad
You've just
ending.
sat through like a pretty kind of mediocre boss fight.
Yeah, the last boss fight.
And then that happens, and it's just gold.
This good is unfair. It's like, you are joking. This is not the end, is it?
It's just like hearing there's just a girl and she's on fire. At the beginning, like Alicia Keys is singing at you and you're like, is it?
They have made some absolutely baffling decisions with like Borderlands and Wonderlands in recent years. Like, I just don't get it. I sort of understand why Lilith is like the face,
the main character.
Yeah, but also I don't care about Lilith really at all. I liked her when she was a side character, involved with the other group from the original game. But like as a solo actor, like Lilith's the leader and stuff, I don't really care about that.
Yeah,
or that she's on fire. I don't really care about that.
Yeah, right. Last question.
I've got last question in the hat. Then I do actually have a question for you off of my brain. So,
do I have to think of one off of my brain?
No, you don't have to at all. It's a very easy one.
Okay.
It's just like, what are you up to now? Like, what games are you hoping to play during this period that we're definitely at in the current day?
Yeah.
Jack J.D. Bradshaw asks, haha, no worries. Hope Peter feels better soon.
Yeah.
I suppose what I might ask is, what gaming announcement would you like to see personally next year?
Ooh, gaming announcement.
Ooh, I'd like to see backwards compatibility native PS3 games support on PS5, even if it is through PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Enough with the streaming. Let's get a comprehensive library of those games, please, preserved, because this is stupid. We shouldn't have to stream them.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
That is a good one. If I'm talking like games, I would love to get some more information regarding. We might already have this. The Game Awards hasn't happened yet, so who knows what's happened. We might be talking about things that have already been announced. But I would love to see what Insomniac are up to in terms of like where. Yeah. I don't think, I've said before, I don't think we're getting any more Spider-Man DLC now, which is a shame because they really set themselves up to have Spider-Man 2 DLC.
Do you reckon it'll tie into Wolverine in a way?
Maybe. I think Wolverine will be a very different game. I see Wolverine being, and this is not a very good comparison, but just like in my head looks similar to things like The Last of Us. In that like you're playing as Wolverine and it's from a third person perspective and you're running around the place. Do we get to ride his motorbike, do you think? Well, we have to. If we don't, I'll be fuming.
We're going to put him on his bike on a statue.
Yeah, outside your house.
Yes.
Next to the Garrett one. I would love to see what Insomniac are up to, how they're like faring with things and seeing what we're looking at in terms of from them. I would like Sony to announce some more first party, stuff. That would be grand because right now, why would I buy a PlayStation 5 Pro when there's no games coming out for it? So, yeah.
Any game announcements, any sequels that you would like?
I mean, I feel like all we get is sequels at this point. I mean, I'm never going to turn down finding out more about the next Horizon game or what Guerrilla are doing because they're meant to be doing a multiplayer Horizon game and I would love to see what they're up to with that, whether it's actually going to happen. I would like to see... What else?
I'd like Bloodborne 2. I would also like to see the Outer Worlds.
Yes, of course.
I'd like to see more from the Outer Worlds. I don't know. When is Avowed coming out? Because they're working on that at the moment, aren't they?
March.
Is there any hype about Avowed?
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's meant people are like the new information that's come, like the release date trailer looks all right.
Okay. I'd like to be proven wrong. I'm not really asked about that.
Also, the Fable reboot. I'd like to see what's going on with that.
Yeah.
Here's some more information about that. What's going on with them?
Perfect Dark as well.
Yeah.
That's coming.
Oh, yeah, the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Or the reboot. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know. I think isn't it a remake?
I don't know.
I didn't.
I don't know. Ask James Jenkins.
Yeah,
He'll
he'll know.
It's his favourite.
What other games are we waiting on from people?
Spyro 4.
Spyro 4, yeah. Well, Toys for Bob now.
Toys for
they're
Robert,
free.
yeah.
So we'll see what they're up to.
Yeah.
I'd like not to see Ubisoft has been sold / most
apart.
of the employees at Ubisoft have been sacked. I would like not to see that. Mm-hmm. I'd like to
Assassin's
see
Creed Shadows do really well.
Yeah. I'd like to see the announcement mid the year saying the least layoffs in years in the gaming industry.
We did it. It wasn't hard.
Instead of this is the most layoffs we've ever seen in 12 months.
Since records began.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. That would be nice.
That would.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna get Switch 2, so that's gonna happen before March. I'd like to see what Nintendo are up to, what their next games are. We'll get another Mario Odyssey type situation.
Yeah.
It's their first what's it called when a launch title? That's what I was looking for. So I'd like to see what they're up to.
Should be an exciting year.
Yeah,
Should be an exciting few months of game stuff.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right now, we haven't got that much on the calendar in terms of games coming out. There's like a few bits and pieces here and there. Like we've got a busy February, a busy March, but like not that much stuff. So hopefully we'll have some more now that the Game Awards have been and gone.
Yep.
And Black Myth Wukong won Game of the Year.
Almost certainly did.
Maybe.
Question mark. We don't actually know at this point.
Yeah.
So my question for you then is you've got a little bit of downtime between Christmas and New Year.
I do.
Before you go back into the office.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're planning on playing?
I'm hoping I'll have finished Ghost of Tsushima by Christmas because I've got 18 days till I go home to see my family. So I want to get it finished before then. And then if I've done that, I am hoping I'll be playing Indiana Jones this week. I don't know if because that's launching like next week at time of recording. So I don't know if I'll play it on release or if I'll wait until I've finished Ghost of Tsushima. You'll know before I do, I'm sure. But I'm either going to have finished Ghost of Tsushima and playing Indiana Jones, or I'll have paused Ghost of Tsushima to play Indiana Jones, so maybe playing Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. But they're the only kind of games that I'm like really want to play. I mean, I'm not going to buy it for myself, but if I get Horizon Lego for Christmas or something, maybe giving that a go. But yeah, I don't really know other than that, to be honest. I've not got a lot on the roster right now. So what about you?
Well, I would like to think that I'm taking a big old bite out of Dragon Age, if not finished it already. So certainly finishing that off. I'll also have Indiana Jones through Game Pass, so I don't know if I'll be hopping on that straight away. Then there is Metaphor, which I might get for Christmas potentially. Yeah, so I might give that a go, but that's a big old game as well. Besides that, though, it might just be a load of like chilled party games, co-op games. My girlfriend and I are playing through the Halo games at the moment. So we may be hopping into some of those across New Year's and stuff. Depends what's happening with New Year's as well. Don't know what's going on with that yet. So yeah, just some either trying to get rid of the backlog a bit of recent titles or just some more relaxing things that I've already played before. Yeah. Going back to them.
Yeah. I think I'm going to try and I want to play Indiana Jones pre-Game of the Year podcast. Yeah. That's my goal.
That would be good.
Or at least have had enough of time playing it so that I can potentially, if it gets up there, add it to my top 5. Because right now, I have no idea what my top 5 is going to be.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it and I'm like, man, I have maybe 3 right now that I'm like, could put in my top 3, like top 5. And even then, like 2 of them, I feel like I'm having to really justify to myself. So I'm kind of like...
You want to play some more stuff from this year?
Yeah, but then I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima, which came out years ago. So maybe I'll have to get Dragon Age and give that a go because I really enjoyed Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
So maybe like I'll really enjoy Dragon Age as well.
I have a physical copy, so if I do manage to finish it, you can borrow it. I won't trade it in this time.
I might buy it potentially.
Or I might trade in. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll get it to you for your birthday.
Yeah. But so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll try and play some new stuff before. I feel like this year's absolutely got away from us. Like I can't believe it's December already. Like it feels like so much has happened, and also nothing has happened.
Yeah.
It's been a very busy year.
It has been. It's flown. It's absolutely flown. But
it's not over yet.
It's not over yet because there's still stuff to come this week on the channel. Thank you so much for watching and supporting us this year. Thank you for following us over to this new podcast channel as well. It means the world. Have a very safe new year, depending on what you're playing. We hope you
fun one, absolutely lit.
Fun one. Have a great time and
fantastic time. And
enjoy the video games. Get a kiss. Enjoy the video games. Eat some food. Drink some alcohol if you do that kind of thing.
If you partake in it.
And just stay safe out there, kids. And don't go out for New Year's because it's crap. Stay in. It's way better.
Yeah,
that would be my advice.
Or go bother one of your friends and make their house.
Go hang out with one of your friends.
Yeah.
We've got a few things to promote before we disappear.
Yeah.
And hopefully Peter will be back with us soon. I'm sure he will be.
I'm hopefully he has been with us, and then he'll be back next week as well.
Yes, he'll be back next week. So it'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. So there's a few places around the internet you can find us. Ashton's going to tell you 3 of them.
YouTube.com and Twitch.tv/Team TripleJump for all of our video and live stream content. We are mostly live on Twitch, but occasionally do live stream on YouTube as well. If you have Amazon Prime, to get all those Christmas presents you got this month, you get a free Twitch sub with that. So why not spend it on us? Cost you no extra money, and you get all the benefits of being a subscriber. So
you'd be really cool.
And Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky, on all of which we are Team TripleJump. However, that fits into the link Blue Sky. It's one's weird, really difficult to say.
Don't understand that.
But Team TripleJump on everything for team up with us and what we're up to.
Patreon.com/Team TripleJump. If you support us there, you get loads of stuff, loads of rewards, and you help us out. So thank you very much, patrons. TripleJ.mup is our website. There you can find links to everything that we do. And why not leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice? It helps something to do with Al Gore's rhythms. And thank you, everyone who's left a review for us. We appreciate you. And thus concludes this podcast, the final podcast of 2024.
It does indeed. Don't forget to vote in the Game of the Year poll if you'd like to have your opinion heard next week on the Game of the Year podcast. And that's about it, really. So I guess we'll see you next week to narrow down our Game of the Year.
Yeah, see you next year, everyone. Bye.